Tashtelek and welcome to Tibet This Week, where we bring you weekly news edition on Tibet, His Holiness the Dalai Lama and Central Tibetan Administration. Let's have a look at today's headlines. President Biden signs Resolve Tibet Act, Tibetans rejoice over US Act. China orders closure of another Tibetan private school in Golog, Tibet. Sikyong Tsering concludes visit to Ladakh, Tibetan settlement, leaves for the United States. Kalon Tharlam Changra concludes talks on sea learning in Japan universities. Kalon Gyari launches book The Truth as Told by Nyima Lhamo. Office of Tibet Canberra conducts seminar on Sino-Tibet relations in the post-Xi Jinping era. Office of Tibet Taiwan undertakes awareness campaign on the middle way approach. On 12 July, the US President Joe Biden has signed into law promoting a resolution to the Tibet-China Dispute Act that aims to facilitate the resolution of the long-standing conflict between Tibet and China. Also known as the Resolve Tibet Act, the act seeks to foster substantive dialogue without preconditions between the PRC government and the Dalai Lama, his representatives or democratically elected leaders of the Tibetan community, or explore activities to improve prospect for dialogue that leads to the negotiated agreement on Tibet. Additionally, it endeavors to collaborate with other nations to achieve a negotiated settlement concerning Tibet. The act asserts that officials of the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party are historically inaccurate in claiming that Tibet has been part of China since ancient times. The act further specifies that the United States public diplomacy initiatives should actively combat disinformation propagated by the government of the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party concerning Tibet, including falsehoods about the historical background of Tibet, its people, and its institutions, including those associated with the Dalai Lama. Earlier in March, on the occasion of the 65th Tibetan Uprising Day, a resolution was introduced in the Congress in a show of bipartisan solidarity, reaffirming support for the Tibetan people amidst ongoing human rights violations perpetrated by the Chinese government in Tibet. The sponsors of the bills in the House were Representative Jim McGovern, Representative Michael McCall, and a number of the co-sponsors in the House from both the parties from the Congress. This pivotal act, re-strengthening America's policy on Tibet, follows other significant acts such as the Tibetan Policy Act of 2002, Tibetan Policy and Support Act of 2019, and the Reciprocal Access to Tibet Act of 2018. Sikyong Tsering extended his heartfelt gratitude to the United States President, the congressmen, and the people of the United States who were involved in introducing, advancing, and translating Resolve Tibet Act into the law of the United States.
Not accepting China's propaganda or China's assertion that Tibet has been part of China since ancient times, which the United States does not recognize, and His Holiness has also not recognized. So this particular provision talks about countering China's false information or false narrative on Tibetan history, on its people, institutions, and His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And the last part of this act also talks about the territory of Tibet, which does not restrict only to Tibet Autonomous Region, which is being defined by China as Tibet, and they have now renamed as Xizang. But the law says that not only Tibet Autonomous Region, but regions outside Tibet Autonomous Region, like Qinghai Province, Sichuan Province, and also in Gansu and Yunnan, are part of Tibet.
Led by the Central Tibetan Administration, events were organized in different Tibetan settlements to express gratitude to the people and the government of the United States.
Overcome, we shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We shall overcome, we shall overcome.
Last week, the Chinese government has ordered the closure of the award-winning Jinmi Gyaltsen Nationalities Vocational High School known as Sherab Nobuling in Golog, Tibet. According to the Human Rights Desk of the Department of Information and International Relations, the Chinese provincial government of Qinghai covered up the true reasons for the school's closure by stating that the search and the interrogation were conducted to determine if there were any monks or nuns under 18 and threatened severe punishment if they were found. According to the sources, the closure of the Tibetan Vocational High School run by the Snowland Academy of Sciences follows several similar closures of Tibetan private schools in the recent years to terminate the preservation of Tibetan language and identity, including culture and religion. Several lawsuits and pressures from the Golog area's Communist Party secretary and other officials have been conspiring to close the school for many years. A group of Sherab Nobuling school students has also been sued for using the Jewel and Lion emblems featured on the Tibetan national flag, which the Chinese government has banned as their group's logo. The group is dedicated to preserving the Tibetan language. Earlier, Jinmi Gyaltsen, the school's founder, has been wrongly accused of accepting bribes under the guise of being the chairman of the Snowland Pastoral Association and the Qinghai Tibet Trade Association. The charges against the school were initially tried and Jinmi Gyaltsen was found not guilty of any crime as reported in an article on 28 June. He was also suspended from his duties as a member of the Tibetan Nationalities Council. The closing ceremony of the Gangzhong Sherab Nobuling took place on the 8th July with a grand graduation ceremony of 110 Tibetan students, staffs and graced with the presence of their professors and lamas of the school. The school was established in 1994 by the great teacher Ragya Jinmi Gyaltsen with the full approval and support of the Marchin County People's Government and Golog People's Government. Sikyong Penpa of the Central Tibetan Administration concluded his official visit to Ladakh Tibetan settlement. This week, Sikyong visited the nomadic regions of Changda Nyoma, Sumdo and Kakchong, Koyul and Henle, three of the nomadic Tibetan settlements closest to the Indo-Tibet border. Sikyong initiated tour of the residence and project site areas and settlements Tibetan Children's Village School and briefly interacted with the students and teachers. Sikyong, in his keynote address during the public talk in the above settlements, Sikyong spoke about the 16 Kashaks, political and administrative endeavors and the result it is so far realized. Regarding the long-standing Tibet-China conflict, Sikyong acknowledged that Kashak is always attentive to changes in global politics to maneuver through to resolve it. Following his visit to Sumdo Tibetan settlement, Sikyong visited the winter residence of the Same Tibetan populace and then met with them at their pastoral area near Tharlam. There, he addressed the Tibetan settlers. Following a meeting with the Tibetan nomads of Same, Sikyong traveled towards Leh to continue his official engagements. Sikyong Penpa also undertook a comprehensive evaluation of the Tibetan community in the Sonamling settlement, visiting each of the 12 Tibetan camps in Sonamling, overseeing ongoing projects, reviewing completed initiatives by the Department of Home, and attending to the concerns of Tibetan residents. In Leh, Sikyong Penpa met with several dignitaries and officials of Ladakh Union Territory, including the Honorable Lieutenant Governor of Ladakh, Shri B.T. Mishra, the Chief Executive Councillor of the Ladakh Hill Development Council, Shri Tashi Gyaltsen, to seek their assistance in enhancing the welfare of the Tibetan residents. Furthermore, Sikyong delivered the uplifting news of the His Holiness the Dalai Lama's knee recovery after the successful treatment in the United States and also talked about the recent enactment of the Resolve Tibet Act. Sikyong Penpa of the Central Tibetan Administration concluded his visit to Ladakh with the significant engagements aimed at fostering relations and addressing community concerns. The visit culminated in a heartfelt address to the Tibetan residents at Sonamling Community Hall, where he emphasized the importance of recent legislative developments and outlined strategic goals for the Tibetan diaspora. After the successful visit of Leh Ladakh, Sikyong left for a series of engagements in the United States. Education Kalon Tharlam Dolma Changra visited Rai Taku University and Chiba Institute for Technology. At these two universities, Kalon discussed the Tibetan education system and briefed the audience on the concept and development of sea learning and its importance to the students and faculty members of the two universities. Kalon thanked Mototaka Hiroike, chairman of the Raitako University, and chairman Setokuma Osamu of Chiba University of Technology for their valuable and continued help in educating Tibetan students. On 12 July, the book titled The Truth as Told by Nyima Lhamo was inaugurated at the Library of Tibetan Works and Archive, which marks 9 years since the death of Tugutesi Delek in the Chinese custody. In attendance at the event were Kalon Gyari from the Department of Security, Geshe Lador of the Director of the Library of Tibetan Works and Archives, and Geshe Tsering Doji, Tugutesi Delek Rinpoche's Service Committee Chairman and author Doji Rinchen. The distinguished guest formally inaugurated the book titled in Tibetan, The Truth as Told by Nyima Lhamo, authored by Doji Rinchen. In her address, Kalon Gyari, on behalf of the Central Tibetan Administration, extended sincere gratitude to all patriotic individuals, including Tugutesi Delek, for their significant sacrifices and unwavering bravery in advocating the cause of Tibet. The Office of Tibet, Canberra, in collaboration with the Chinese Alliance for Democracy, organized a seminar titled Sino-Tibet Relations in the Post-Xi Jinping Era at Sydney University on 10 July. The seminar, graced by the presence of esteemed researchers, activists, and leading experts on China, engaged in a comprehensive discourse. The discussions ranged from the impact of Xi Jinping's policies on Sino-Tibetan relations to the alarming cultural genocide unfolding in Tibet under his rule. In his opening remarks, Representative Kama Sengye revealed China's policy to securitize Tibet and sinicize Tibetan people as part of Xi Jinping's long-term assimilation drive. Dr. Gallo, a leading expert on China's assimilation and education policies in Tibet, shared his profound insights on Xi Jinping's overall vision to create a Han-centric nationalism policy. Kesa Genze Bawa, representative of Office of Tibet, Taiwan, explained the Central Tibetan Administration's commitment to middle way policy in finding a peaceful resolution to the Sino-Tibet conflict. The Office of Tibet, Taiwan, in collaboration with non-governmental organizations, organized an awareness-raising event on the middle way approach for the Tibetan community and Taiwanese in Taiwan on 9 July. Geshe Lobsang Chömbel, president of the Global Tibetan People's Movement for the Middle Way Approach, provided a brief overview of the evolution of the Middle Way Approach. The event attracted considerable in-person and online participation, drawing an audience of over 6,000 attendees. That is all the news for this week's edition of Tibet This Week. Thank you so much for watching.